The better AI gets at giving answers, the more important it becomes to know who you're getting your answers from. Because the questions that matter most in the founder's life, the ones about burnout, about leadership, about identity, about who you're becoming as the business grows, those questions can be put into AI now. And the answers AI give are not bad answers. They're often very good answers, clear, reasonable, well structured, and useful. But something is missing from them. And in this video, I want to talk about what that something is, why it matters more than people realize, and why founders who lose sight of it are going to find themselves making important decisions on the back of advice that didn't really come from anyone at all. Welcome to the Lead Well channel, where we explore the inner world of leadership, well-being, and what it means to build a business and a life that doesn't break you. My name's Trevor. I've run a multi-award winning restaurant and cocktail bar, but I didn't come from a hospitality background. I built the business from the ground up, learning as I went, figuring it out in real time. And this is a video about AI. And I wanted to be upfront about something. I use AI in all my own work daily, and I'm going to talk about how. But I'm also going to make the case for the things that actually matter in a founder's life. AI is not a replacement for another human being. The best the technology has been able to do still cannot give you what a person who has walked that path that you're walking can give you. It's worth remembering something. For most of human history, our connection to each other was our currency. The way that we did business, the way that we learned, the way that we passed down what mattered. We depended on each other and we flourished because of it. As technology has moved forward, that connection has been diminishing. Slowly, then more quickly, and now at a pace that almost nobody is really stopping to examine. We've gradually replaced the people we used to ask with the tools we've built to give us faster answers. And I think the founders who understand what's been lost in that shift will get the best of both worlds. The ones who don't will quietly outsource the most important parts of their decision making to a tool that was never designed to make those decisions. There's a pattern I've been noticing. The current cultural assumption is that AI can replace people. So increasingly, people take their questions to AI before they take them anywhere else. Some of those questions are perfectly suited to AI. How do I structure a contract? How to write a recipe? How to find a piece of information that used to take 10 minutes of searching? For those, AI is brilliant, faster, more accurate, more available than any human alternative. But many of the questions a founder asks are not those questions. I'm burning out, what should I do? My team isn't responding to my leadership and I don't know why. I've lost the passion for what I built and I need to understand what's happening to me. I keep avoiding the same conversation and I can't make myself have it. These questions are getting put to AI now, and the answers being received are good. They're clear, they're reasonable, they're well-constructed answers. They're just missing the person behind them. And that absence is doing more damage than people realize. Here's the thing AI can't do, no matter how good it gets. It can't give you lived experience. Think of it like this. In a hospital, AI can read a medical readout and give you the results and the recommendations. It can do that faster and probably more accurately than any other human. Genuinely useful, but the nurse who gives that information to a patient can read a room, can adjust the tone based on what they see in front of them, can portray difficult news in a humane way that lands differently because it comes from someone who has been on the receiving end of difficult news themselves and knows what it feels like to hear it. The information is the same, the way it lands is completely different, and the way it lands changes what the patient does with it. The same is true in our world. A founder asking for advice on burning out. AI can give you good ideas, sensible steps, a framework that makes complete sense on paper. But the response from someone who has actually been through burnout, who walked the path, who made the mistake and came out the other side, carries something that AI response can't. It carries credence. The implicit message that this advice exists because someone needed it themselves and found it useful. That's not data, that's testimony. And testimony lands differently to data because testimony changes your relationship to what you're being told. The advice from someone who has lived it isn't necessarily more accurate. The AI advice might be technically correct in every detail, but the advice that comes from a human being with a story is more real and more believable. And in the matters of the heart and the mind and the harder parts of running a business, believability is what makes the difference between reading the advice and actually acting on it. That's the thing AI can't give you, the story underneath the advice that makes the advice mean something. Here's another side to this that I want to name because I think it matters for how you think about your own work as a founder. In an environment where so much information is now coming from anonymous, faceless sources, the founder who shows up with a face, a story, a background, and a track record builds something that AI can't replicate. Trust. People want to know who they're getting their answers from and want to know the person behind the advice. They want to understand what made you the kind of person that could give them this guidance in the first place. And the businesses and the brands and the founders who built that human connection, who are willing to put themselves into the work, are the ones that will continue to matter when the AI-generated noise has become deafening. Putting yourself forward as the face of what you do is not vanity. It's not self-promotion in the negative sense. It's giving the people you serve a way to know that the help being offered comes from a real person with a real story and a real understanding of what they're going through. That trust is the most valuable thing any founder or any person helping anyone else can build right now. And it's the one thing AI can't compete with, because AI by definition can't have a face or a story or a history of mistakes that became wisdom. You can. That's the advantage. Use it. Before I go on, I want to mention the Lead Well community. It's a free space for hospitality founders where we have conversations that AI can't have for you. The link's in the description. It's completely free, so come and find us. Let's get back to the video. I want to be honest about how I use AI in my own work, because I think the honesty makes the argument stronger rather than weaker. I use it daily, primarily to help me structure my ideas and organize my thinking. And as I've worked with it over time, I've fed it more and more of my own perspective, my framework, my voice, my background, the things that I've written, the conversations I've had with founders. So the AI I work with becomes deeply familiar with how I think. It's not about making up things about me. It's reflecting back what I've put in, like a personal assistant that has spent a lot of time learning what I sound like. And that's the model that I think works. It's not asking the AI to think for me. I'm using it to make my own thinking faster and better structured. The substance still has to come from me. The lived experience still has to be mine. The understanding of what a founder watching this actually needs to hear still has to be human. AI helps me get the structure in place faster, but it doesn't write the soul of what I do. That part isn't outsourceable. That distinction is what I want any founder watching this to take from this section. AI used well is a multiplayer on your existing thinking. AI used badly is a replacement for it. The first one will make your work better. The second will make your work generic, indistinguishable from anyone else doing the same thing, and quietly remove the thing that made you worth listening to in the first place. Here's the closing argument. AI is a tool. Like any tool, it has things it does brilliantly and things it doesn't do well at all. The mistake being made in the current cultural moment is treating it as a replacement for the things it can't actually do. It can't replace lived experience. It can't replace the trust that builds between a person and someone who has walked the path before them. It can't replace the quality of guidance that comes from a human being who knows what something feels like rather than just what it looks like on paper. Those things require a person, and they always will. But for the things it can do, AI is extraordinary. Structuring ideas, organizing information, drafting and refining work, reducing the time on tasks that don't need a human heart to be done well. And the founders who learn to use it for those things while protecting the parts of their work that genuinely require human judgment and connection will get the best of both worlds. More time for the things only they can do, less time on the things that never needed them in the first place. If you want a recommendation, I use Claude. It's the AI I've put the most time into and the one that has the most context on how I work. Used properly with real time invested in giving it your perspective and your voice, it functions as a genuine personal assistant, not a replacement for thinking, an amplifier for it. But here's the thing I want to leave you with. Whatever tool you use and however you use it, don't outsource the parts of your work that need a person, especially when the person is about you, your business, or your well-being. For those, find a person, someone whose story you can understand and whose path you can trust, and then AI to make the work of acting on what they tell you faster and more focused. That's the balance. That's what gets you the best of both worlds. And I think the founders who get it right are going to be the ones still standing when the noise of everyone trying to replace each other with AI has quietened down. The better AI gets, the more valuable human connection becomes, not less, because the things only a person can give you, the lived experience, the read of a room, the trust that comes from a real story, are the things that matter most when the question matters most. And here's what I genuinely believe about where this is all going. We started this conversation with the fact that human connection used to be our currency, the thing that we depended on, that we built lives and businesses and communities around. I think we're going to find our way back to that, not by abandoning the technology, by understanding it well enough to use it for what it's actually good at, while protecting and rebuilding the parts of our lives that always needed a person. The future of AI, in my view, isn't a world where human connection has been replaced. It's a world where it's been so devalued by the technology that we eventually demand it back. where trust and a real story and someone you can rely on becomes more important than the tool, not less. Use AI, embrace it, learn what it can do, but know what it can't do, and don't hand over the parts of your life and your work that need a human being to walk alongside you, because that's where we came from, and I think that's where we're headed back to. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me, it helps the channel, and it helps people like us find the content that really matters. And as always, I'd love to remind you that you matter too. Don't forget that.